All right, everybody, welcome aboard here to the Sports Talk Nation, and it's time for another review, this time a Week 2 recap of the action that took place in the NFL for our New York-based teams, Jets, Giants, and yes, I'm going to throw some love for you Bill fans as well. I know we got some comments in the comments section last week, so we'll talk about them as well. Now, first thing I want to touch on very quickly, we'll go through each team here. Let's talk about the Giants. They lose 17-13 to the Chicago Bears on Sunday afternoon, but aside from the loss, which now drops the Giants to 0-2, the biggest loss being Saquon Barkley, his injury, torn ACL, he is now out for the season. There's talk that the Giants are going to try to bring in, or close to bringing in, Devontae Freeman, former running back from the Atlanta Falcons. But the fact is, the Giants lose their number one playmaker for the rest of this year. And I know Barkley got off to a slow start this year, only had 6 yards rushing in Week 1. Had a good start in this game against the Chicago Bears, but man, he got beat up badly. And I thought he got seriously injured on the tackle at the end of the first quarter, where it looked like he hyperextended his elbow, or maybe did some damage to his arm. Instead, he comes back out into the field next play, start of the second quarter, gets the handoff, and then injures his knee, and as a result is now lost for the season. So that put a lot more pressure on Daniel Jones, and we saw the result on Sunday, and it was a mixed bag. Yes, Jones had some nice throws. He did convert a couple of fourth downs late in the fourth quarter, but for the most part, the problem with Daniel Jones on Sunday is the problem that has always been the problem with Daniel Jones is that he is inconsistent. And that's why sometimes you have to call him Danny Douche, because he makes plays you sit there and go, what the heck was this guy thinking? A lot of incompletions. It seemed like every time I would flip to the Giants game, he was getting popped by somebody on the Chicago Bears. He was sacked 4 times as a result in the game. Couple of big turnovers. I will say this, he did get lucky, Daniel Jones, on the interception that appeared to happen on 3rd and 8 of the Giants' 48. This was back in the early part of the fourth quarter. It looked like it was interception brought back for a touchdown for the Bears that would have made it 24-10. Instead, they called it pass interference. I didn't agree with the call, but that's the way it is. Giants got second life and then proceeded to go down a field, get in position to kick a field goal, and make it a 17-13 game, and kept themselves in the ball game. And that's really where the best positive comes for the Giants in this game, is that their defense did its job. They kept the team in the game. They shut the Bears out in the second half of the ball game. And yes, I understand it helps a little bit when Mitchell Trubisky is the quarterback on the other sideline with the Chicago Bears, but still give the Giants defense credit. They did play well in this game. They got 4 sacks on Trubisky, made him uncomfortable in the pocket, forced a couple of turnovers from him, and gave the Giants a chance to go out there and potentially steal this game from Chicago. So here are the Giants' last drive of the game. And as I said, a lot of things for Jones kind of got simplified in the second half. A lot of short passes, dink, dunk here and there. And the Giants made their way downfield, got in position to potentially steal a game, but you just never felt that the Giants were ever going to do that. And the last play of the game, Jones tries to force one into the end zone to Golden Tate, incomplete. Pass interference in the offense, that really didn't matter at that point because the pass was incomplete anyway, and the Giants end up losing 17-13. But the fact is, moving forward for the Giants, they don't have their star running back anymore. It's not going to put a lot more pressure on the quarterback, on Daniel Jones in his second year, to be the guy. It's all going to start and end with him right now. And as I said, he's a guy who can be he's a guy who's been very inconsistent, who can be somewhat erratic in passing. And the Giants are going to try to rely on him to not make the big turnovers and big moments to try to win some games. The Giants do get the 49ers this week. We'll talk about them in a second because they did play the Jets. As we all know, the 49ers are going to come limping into that football game against the Giants, missing a whole bunch of guys, including Nick Bosa, who is also out for the season with an ACL injury. Everyone was getting ACL injuries this week. It was crazy, the amount of injuries that were happening in the NFL this weekend. So he is out. It sounds like Jimmy Garoppolo will play, even though he had the ankle injury against the Jets. So he sounds like a go. It is Tuesday right now, so we'll see. But the fact is, it is an opportunity for the Giants against a battered 49ers team to try to steal that first win of the year against what's usually a good team, but a team that has a lot of injuries right now. So we shall see with the Giants. Again, you got to be worried. You got to be worried with the fact that they're now reduced to a one-dimensional offense. You do have to be encouraged by the fact that the defense for the Giants has played well for the most part for the first 2 weeks. This is a Giant team that this year, you can see it right now. They're going to be in a lot of games. They're going to fight tooth and nail in a lot of these games, and they're going to be a lot of close games and close losses like we saw on Sunday. So it's not a bad team. It's not a great team, but it's a team that over the course of the season, and you look at their schedule, you have games against the Redskins, the Eagles. Do you trust these two teams right now? No. Eagles are 0-2. They got the Bengals. They got the Browns. You got all these teams that are not that great. The Giants are going to win some games. And in a division that right now is not very good right now, the NFC East, even a win on Sunday, all of a sudden the Giants feel pretty good about themselves moving forward. Now, yes, you know what, folks? I know we got a lot of comments in the comments section, so I am going to give some love here to the Buffalo Bill fans. And why not? Because the Buffalo Bills are in first place in the AFC East. They are 2-0, winning on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins by a score of 31-28. And really what stood out in this game, other than the fact there was a huge rain delay, and apparently there was a power outage down there, and CBS couldn't connect their feed. I heard about that on the Red Zone. So other than that, it was the Josh Allen show as he went 24 for 35, 417 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He was lighting it up. I mean, this guy was throwing bombs all over the field. He and Stephon Diggs were connecting all over the place. 8 catches for Diggs for 153 yards and touchdown. Also, huge touchdown to Josh Brown at the end of the game that iced it. 46-yard bomb by Allen. He basically did whatever he wanted to do. There was no pressure on him. Yes, he only got sacked once in the game, so you got to give a lot of credit to the Bills' offensive line. But this is what happened. This is what the Bills want to be. They want to be a team that can protect their quarterback. They want to give Allen the opportunity to have time in the pocket, and when he does, he can tear a defense apart. He has a big arm. We know he can run the football a little bit. He is dangerous, and this Bills team is dangerous. Yes, I know the Bills got carved up defensively in the fourth quarter. I understand that. They were playing in Miami in the heat of Miami, and yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Mike Gesicki did have a bit of a day against that defense, but still, Buffalo 2-0 in an impressive 2-0 start to the season. 2-0 in the division. They beat the two dregs of the AFC East in the Jets and the Dolphins in back-to-back weeks. And now this week, they'll have a bit of a tougher challenge going up against the LA Rams, who are 2-0 on the season as well. That game will take place in Orchard Park. Keep in mind, the schedule for the Buffalo is going to get interesting after this. They do have the Raiders coming up. They have games against the Titans, the Chiefs, and then that game against the Patriots on the 1st of November. So the schedule going to get tougher for the Bills. We'll see how real the Buffalo Bills are in the AFC East very, very quickly. But to start the year, 2-0, 2-0 the division. Josh Allen looking great so far and working well, again, as I say, with Stephon Diggs. Good sign for the Buffalo Bills at 2-0. Now, speaking of protecting your quarterback and doing everything you can to, mold your franchise around your quarterback, the Buffalo Bills show you how to do that. The New York Jets show you how to destroy your quarterback. Because the Jets are the biggest joke running. The biggest disaster running. They are the clown car that is on fire, heading for a cliff, and instead of going down the cliff, they explode and roll down the hill. 31-13, the Jets lose to the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday, and this game wasn't even that close. In fact, the only thing that competed against the 49ers on Sunday was the turf, because of all the injuries that the 49ers suffered in the game on Sunday. I mentioned before Nick Bosa tearing the ACL, Solomon Thomas getting injured, Raheem Mostert, even though he had that 80-yard touchdown run to open the ball game 17 seconds into the contest, he got injured. Tevin Coleman got injured. Jimmy Garoppolo got injured. He was limping around the field. And still the 49ers put up 31 points on the Jets. How bad do you have to be to lose to a team that has a million injuries? That's how bad things are for the Jets, a team with no leadership, no accountability, And if you read the papers here on a Tuesday morning, Adam Gase in his Monday press conference saying it isn't his play calling, it's the execution. Well, I guess so, but considering that Christopher Johnson, the owner of CEO of the New York Jets, the co-owner of the team with his brother, says that Adam Gase is a genius, a brilliant mind. So brilliant that he has put the Jets in total paralysis.
That's why they call him Sonny.
Exactly. And also has put Sam Darnold's career in a big, big quagmire. While I mentioned someone like Josh Allen, who is taking off in his third year, Sam Darnold is taking off in the other direction. And let me tell you something. A lot of people are wondering, is Sam Darnold the guy? Is he really the answer here for this Jet franchise? And he's making mistakes. He's still making the rookie mistakes, throwing off the back of the foot, harassed in the pocket. Part of the problem is the fact that the Jets didn't put much protection around him. They have nothing around the kid. And this also goes to Joe Douglas, who supposedly improved this offensive line, signing really a bunch of backup players to the offensive line, in addition to drafting Mekhi Becton and hoping that would work, and it hasn't worked together so far, and it's been a problem for Darnold. Not to mention they have no receivers at all. It's funny, Joe Douglas told Sam Darnold's parents that he was going to put a team around Sam Darnold, and he has not done that. I'm not going to say he's a liar, but he has failed this quarterback, and the Jets have failed this quarterback miserably, especially Adam Gase, who has taken a quarterback who had promised his first year 2 years ago to a quarterback who may be out of town. And that's what people are now talking about here in New York City. And there's even now discussion that the Jets, who look like the worst team in football, they look like a team destined to go 1-15, dare I say 0-16. Hey, Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers got some company maybe this year in the 2020 New York Jets. If the Jets go 0-16, do they draft Trevor Lawrence? Here's my take on that. Why? Why draft another quarterback? Why bring another young prospect quarterback in here at this point when you know and you don't have a coaching staff in place that you can trust? I don't know who the next coach is going to be of this team, but it's just the same old thing all over again. The Jets are going from Mark Sanchez to Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, with Darnold being probably the more talented of the three, and none of them at this point, and I want to throw Darnold too quickly under the bus here, none of them have really panned out, mainly because the Jets as an organization are a dystopian mess for quarterbacks. And why would you, if you are Trevor Lawrence and you're sitting there, you know what you do? You tell your agent, you know what, please, if the Jets are picking number one and they want me, trade me somewhere else. Cause a ruckus. I don't want to play for the New York Jets. That's what Trevor Lawrence should do. Do everything he can if the Jets are sitting there trying to draft him next year. Why would you want to go to the Jets? Why? You're better off going to the Panthers. Maybe even the Detroit Lions. Anywhere. You're better off going to Canada than going to play for the Jets. It's bad for the Jets. The worst team in the National Football League, with probably the worst coach in the National Football League, and now the worst offense, the worst team. You might as well just rename the Razzie Awards, which they do for bad movies, the Jet Awards. Just call them the New York Jet Awards, because it's just the same damn thing. Anyway, folks, that is going to do it here for a recap for Week 2. The Jets, by the way, go to Indianapolis. What's the point? Anyway, we'll talk to you next week. I will try to get these out a little bit sooner, these weekly recaps. I'm going to try to do it on Sunday instead of Tuesday when the game actually takes place, and go from there, and we'll bring these to you on a weekly basis. Also, keep in mind, it is the end of the baseball season, so we are going to have it is the end of the baseball season, so we're going to have apparently have Pete Movers working around here. We're going to have we're going to talk about the Yankees going up against the Twins potentially in the next couple of weeks for the wild card playoff round, and also the Mets end of the season. Steve Cohen sounds like he's going to clean house for the New York Metropolitans. So remember, folks, follow us on Twitter at OpenMikeNJ on Twitter, Facebook.com/OpenMikeProgram, and like and subscribe right here to the Sports Talk Nation. We'll talk to you next time.